Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 278, and today we're doing Battle in the Gauntlet. And so, the Last Chance Gauntlet is up. We did manage to get our qualification on the last video, go us. We had the 4 Prime Glories, didn't get to use them because of whatever bug, but we still went through and won. A pretty exciting and fun set of Gauntlet. And so, as we do enter this time of seasonals, I run into the problem as a content creator in that I want to keep putting out new stuff, but I also need to practice for seasonals. And so, the concession that I have is I can either not make videos, I can not make content and just practice for seasonals, or I can kind of incorporate the seasonals practice into the videos. And so you are going to see a lot of these same decks over the next few days. If you aren't interested in that, then I completely understand. I hope you can find some other delightful content to fill out your day. But for these next few days, I'll take advantage of the gauntlets while we can, and then I'm going to jump into just the standard ladder with these decks that we intend on playing. And so I'm pretty happy with the lineup that we've been playing. I can bring it up and talk about it just a little bit more, but we're playing Katarina Leona, which I am extremely pleased with in terms of our list. I think this is probably the best way out there. I get rid of the cards that suck like Legion Saboteur. We add in that little bit of value that we're missing in the Solari Priestess, and we aren't playing cards like Reveler's Feast. It just doesn't do enough to win the game to where cards like Shunpo do. And so quite happy with the Katarina Leona here. This is our kind of prime aggro deck, our only Legion Rearguard deck of the day, if you will. But very happy with what this has to offer. Deck number 2, we're playing Sejuani Gwen. Quite happy with this as well. I feel like Sejuani is one of these champions that is really has a place in the format. Her flip ability is quite powerful, and tying that in with the Gwen abilities is pretty cool as well. So we have all of the Overwhelm units getting bonuses from the Hallowed. But the thing that really sells me on playing Sejuani in some way, shape, or form is the access to the Spirits Unleashed. I'm quite happy with the Spirits Unleashed. This is a very go wide format. And so having something that blows up all of the 1 health units and then in addition gives all of our Overwhelm units the bonus stats is quite powerful. So I'm exceptionally happy with this one as well. And then last but not least, we are playing Aatrox Kane. And the only thing I have to say about Aatrox Kane is I ran into a lot of spaces as to where we just didn't have anything to do in the first 3 turns of the game, and that's an absolute disaster. And so we're playing the full 3 copies of Shadowblade Fanatic. I'm not entirely certain if I wouldn't want to just cut an Ambitious Cultist for another 3-drop. I'm not as excited about including the elusive unit because it can't like get into combat with a Boom Baboon and survive, but just having something to do in the early game is so incredibly important that I definitely like the 3 Shadowblade Fanatics, and I'm not opposed to adding in something a little bit cheaper. In terms of the 4-drop space, we're playing the Ambitious Cultists. I don't feel like this is a format that really ties in too well with the Scout unit. He does work nicely with the Darkened Fan. He does work nicely with the Darkened Spear, but it just doesn't feel like we ever really have enough time to get those high-valued plays going, and that seems like something that tends to work better in the Vayne versions of the deck. And so those are the lists we'll be playing. In terms of the pick and ban strategy, I just pick it as we go. We aren't playing a lineup dedicated to, say, beating Aatrox Kane or a lineup dedicated to beating aggro. We're pretty middle of the road. I like to assume that our opponents are probably just going to ban Aatrox Kane every time unless they have a lineup dedicated to beating it. But this does give us a little bit of flexibility in our picks and bans. And so I typically look to just the more control-y style decks are the ones that we typically want to remove. The one that I don't really intend to play against in these events is going to be Feel the Rush. And so if we can take the Feel the Rush out of the mix, I'm fine with that. But otherwise, I don't really feel the need to ban Jinx Lulu. That's a pretty good matchup across the board. I don't really ban Jinx in general. I typically don't ban things like Red Gwen, and we look to just the slower, more control-y decks that could try and punish our Leona deck as the ones that we typically try and remove. And so that's the deck, that's the strategy, that's what we're doing battle with today. You know what we got to do before the battles begin, though. We got to go and pay the pay-to-win price. And so we're going to get our old broccoli snacks deck all premiumed up before you know it. We're going to go ahead and start tying in with that. We got the Nox and Tellstones to turn premium today. Only leaves us with the Sun Guardian at the end of the day. So by the time we roll around to the seasonals, we should be all set and ready to go. If you don't know what I'm talking about the broccoli Leona, she's over here eating the broccoli in her picture. Whatever the deal with this Battle Academia thing is, I don't know if this is like the high school version of the Legends of Runeterra characters, and Leona isn't happy about having to eat her broccoli snacks, but that's what we're talking about in that sense. Well purchased on that skin. It's brought me plenty of value, I guess. All right, but there's the lineup ready to go. Let's head on into battle. And so yeah, the one of my complaints about this has always been once this last chance gauntlet is over, there's no more chance to play best of 3 within the client. And I always thought that was a bit of a sad day in terms of what you're able to do in terms of preparing for seasonals. But you know what they say. It is what it is. And so this is kind of an interesting lineup. They have decks that are good against a variety of what we're doing. I suspect he's going to leave up our Leona deck because his Leona deck crushes ours, and the Vagar deck also crushes ours. And so I think he's going to try and tie that in. The Pantheon deck is quite good against our Aatrox Kayn, but the remainder of his lineup is not. And so I assume he's going to ban out Aatrox Kayn, make us play Leona and Sejuani. And with that in mind, I'm leaning towards just banning out Vagar. I don't think our Aatrox Kayn is going to be staying up. And so I feel like a little bit better. Our Leona matchup into his Varus deck should be okay. And then I'm fine with the Sejuani deck into either of these. And so I'm just going to actually lead off with Sejuani in this match. I don't really want to have to take I don't want to play a Leona mirror match in the first game is what I'm trying to get at there. And so we'll see what happens in terms of our Sejuani deck here. If we get to play that other matchup, great. And then if we get off to a good start here with a win and we get to take 2 games of Leona out there, then that would be great as well. So reasonable enough start. We are on the odds, so we can't start getting these turn 4 Gwen attacks in, but we have a pretty decent curve out here and running, and you do end up being able to, say, play a dude on turn 2, a dude like Tusk Speaker on turn 3, Gwen on turn 4, and then turn 5 you could say Ancient Yeti Doom Beast. And so we should have a pretty healthy crew out here getting ready for battle. So in terms of the sequencing with these units, I'm going to drop the Tusk Speaker here. We would like to have these Overwhelm attacks on the follow-up turns, but I want to deal damage to the opponent on the opponent's turn so that we get a few of those tick-ups on our Sejuani. So opponent doesn't attack, all good and well. Let's see if we can't get a decent combat this round. I'm happy enough to come in and make the trades across the board. If he has the cultist combat trick, that's the only thing he could be playing here. It's not awesome, but I think it's okay if it comes down that way. And I didn't add the Boisterous Host. We have a lot of good 2-mana spells in our deck, and if we get an Inner Beast or a good combat trick on the upcoming turn, I don't want to be limited because the host is on board, because he's not doing fuck all on this board. He's just coming down and dying, and so I don't want to get involved with that. Here, this is odd. We're gonna... Wow. That is very strange. He must just be trying to power level his Pantheon or something. That one left me a little bamboozled. Did I add this up wrong? Oh, I thought our Yeti was going to cost 3 this round. That was what happened there. So how bad can this go? He's got quite a bit of mana. Let's just throw away the Boisterous Host at this point. We're probably going to be dropping a Vengeance onto Varus in an upcoming turn. And the stopping at the 3 bank is okay. Gonna have a cultist strike or something? That's not enough for a kill. Oh, it is, because he cast a spell. Okay. I gotcha. I see what you did there. So we're up to Hallowed 2 now, though, so that makes our Boisterous Host attack look much better. Interesting. So how much do we even care about this, right? The thing that starts to suck for us is if he has that 2 mana spell that gives him Spell Shield. I think it's okay to just go for it. In terms of this upcoming turn, we're going to just drop like an Ancient Yeti next round. So we have the mana to get this going. It's like spending 6 mana on units this turn just isn't that spectacular. And so I think spending the mana there and still just dropping Redeemed Prodigy is going to be a bit of a win. Very weird-ass draw from opponent. You don't want your draws to be weird-ass, you know? You want them to be regular-ass. Alright, so this Pantheon's probably going to be flipping here. He has all the equipments and stuff that he can throw down on him. See if he hits a lifesteal. That's going to be the make or break point of this game. Nope. Okay. So that's pretty cool. No complaints there. Let's make sure our Overwhelm unit gets the bonus stats off of the bonus stats off of the Hallowed. Send in the squad. That looks like a lethal. 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 Good job, squad. Move those units around. See if you can't get a survive. You gotta dig deep. You gotta look hard. Alright, hopefully we get it. We can't talk too much trash before the game's over, so... You could have like a Gain 2. Right? This deck does tend to play that Gain 2 cycle card. I don't think a Gain 3 is really on the menu. Ooh, a Hush. Is that enough? Nope. Okay. Is that enough? Ooh, he found it. He got there. Okay. So we might be in a bit of a bind, right? I mean, I don't think we're really worried about dying to this Pantheon. We could die to a Varus, but we need to pick up a card that'll let us still play our Doom Beast, right? So let's see if we can't get him to spend a little bit more mana. Okay, we should be safe now. There's no strike cards for 2 mana. I think we're safe. Got him. GG. Ooh, we even had mana for Doom Beast. That math stuff's hard to do, man. I don't know. I don't know how people do it. I found myself at work the other day just trying to do some really basic mathematics. I couldn't do it. I was fucking failing left and right. I have a guy on our team that's a math PhD, and I just said, "Fuck it. I know it's arithmetic, but Math Boy over here can do it all. I can't. I can't handle this basic multiplication that has decimal points in it." They tell you to stay in school, kids, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to be able to succeed. All right. So on this board, I would have looked to get the Solari Soldier on board if the Forsaken Bakai was small enough, but he's too big for combat. Oh shit! I thought we were on the odd attacks. I was talking about mathematics and just failing again. But I think this is okay. We'll still get our big round of attacks in. I think this is the way we want to do it. I don't want a 1 health unit for the Saga Seeker to trade with. A lot of times you just slap the damage onto the Legion Rearguard because you don't really care about it. It's just your easiest unit to come in and trade away. But I think here we wanted all the 1 healthers, so the Saga Seeker wasn't doing anything nasty. Okay, he's tapped out now, so he's not attacking. That was a very sweet round for us. Now we're going to be able to just get the stuns turn after turn. We got the Sunhawk for this turn, Leona for next turn, and then Leona on the board. We'll have the Solari Soldier the turn after that. All sounds pretty cool, pretty awesome. Where you at, Bird? Again, same deal. Don't want to hit the Legion Rearguard. No 1 health units for the cultist to boost. Or the cultist to block, we should say. Cool. And more Sunhawks for the double stun next round? Fam, that's juicy. The Go Tall decks don't like getting all these stuns. I'll tell you that. Not blocking either of these. It's just too risky. We want to get into the next turn with more width than the opponent. So we'll just let that happen. We'll take the damage. We should be winning the game on this attack. If we don't win on this attack, then we'll probably lose. But we should be in a pretty powerful position here. But giving up our width just to prevent those points of health doesn't do enough to try and seal the game. Now we do have a reasonable question, and would we want to play the Pale Cascade before combat starts? I mean, I don't think so. You have to worry about him, say, like, Varus striking down a unit with his Pantheon, and so I think we have enough stuff on board to where it's not critical. Right? If he strikes down our Sun Guardian, we still have plenty of damage coming through. And then the Pale Cascade is quite good here. If he, for some reason, has a way to deal with the Sun Guardian and a Legion Rearguard and a Solari Sunhawk, we can still win with our 2 units way down to the left. So if he has, like, the Cultist, Harsh Winds, and a Strike, looks like he's got a fuckload of mana here. He might actually have pretty close to that. But not enough. GG, friend. Cool, so that match went how we wanted, right? The worrying matchup was the Leona deck into our Leona deck. Didn't want to give him 2 good matchups into our Leona deck. I think we read into that one pretty well. That's what I'm talking about in terms of the pick and bans, right? We don't have to just have a set strategy going into each round. I like that we have a bit of flexibility. We aren't playing, just ban Aatrox, and if we don't play Aatrox, then our strategy's just fucked. Okay, so on to this next set. I don't think we can ever ban Master Yi Ornn. I don't really know what it is, but I don't feel like I'm worried about it. And then I do like a lot of what our decks offer up against Rumble. The Leona deck tends to be pretty strong against Rumble. The Gwen deck has a lot of tools that you can use against it, and so I think we just want to ban out deep. And we should hopefully be good to go from there. So let's lead off with Aatrox Kayn. I could definitely see Rumble giving Aatrox Kayn a bit of trouble. The Rumble decks do tend to be decent against Aatrox Kayn, but that's more typically the Vayne versions, right? If you have the Vayne version and you get your you get your Rumble on board and he's getting the multi attacks every turn, this is not a deck that can really handle that. But with the single attacks coming out of the Bandle City Noxus, whatever he was doing, I think that was okay. And so here, I like to hang on to a couple of equipment, and then we just need to find something to do. I think I'm going to get rid of the Darkened Bloodletters. This should be a start to where we're looking to really take advantage of the Forsaken Bakai, because opponent's going to be slamming a lot of stats at us with his Ornn deck here. And so I assume once he gets kind of like up and running with his Reforges, he's going to be having bigger units than we have. I'm not amped about any of this stuff. We already have one momentous choice. I could see an argument for keeping the strike card, but none of that feels like what we want. I was really just hoping we could hit any Darken so that we could boost up the Bakai, because I was really excited to get these bonus stat attacks happening. Alright. No punishes here, no Wuju styles to take down the Bakai. Give me them stats, please. Master Yi. Alright.
The bigger the hunt, the better the trophy. Form before strength.
I'm not dealing with that. You can have your strike. I'll take my stats. See how much better this game would have been, though, if our Bakai had that +1/+1? It's like I literally did not care what the equipment was. I just wanted the stats. So how bad could this go now? I'm, not familiar with whatever this opposing deck is. Can they just add a big Reforge unit? Like if they play a 3/3 for 3, we don't handle that particularly well. Let's just go ahead and open, take all the stats, try and contest down the Master Yi. If we get him spending mana on combat tricks this turn instead of playing units, I think that'll be a win for us. We want to keep our dude bro around? Probably do, because this will draw Arcane. Well, I guess it'll draw Arcane after we play the Bakai. That's weird. Was that not enough cultists? Getting bamboozled. Alright, what you got for us, deck? Not the most exciting collection of cards. I don't think we need Keeper of the Box. The Ambitious Cultist is, like, kind of fine, but we're not going to play it for a bunch of turns. Let's just skip over this. I'd rather have another equipment. I mean, we do have this built up to where we just play Kayn, we play Aatrox, and then we have the Spell Shield protection if he tries to do something weird, and so I feel safe enough. What you got? Pot of Pain? Pan of Pain.
Come on, where's the competition?
He's bringing it, huh? Interesting.
Not much.
Master Yi doesn't actually do stuff when he strikes, right? He's just when I've dealt damage. All right, whatever. I feel like that's the proper response to seeing any Master Yi go. Yeah, whatever. We'll probably find a way to die to him, but no, I'm not impressed. And that was a massive Aatrox that just came into our hand. He has +3/+3 from the various attacks that we've been doing. So that's pretty cool as well. Give me them stats if you don't mind. We're gonna be ending this world real fucking fast. On 13, we're about to get 4 equipment strikes for the round. I don't know how you feel, but I think that's pretty cool.
Aim for the heart.
Alright, I don't want to, like, get really invested in tussling with Master Yi here. I assume he's going to, like, come in and block something that we don't really care about. This is not an unreasonable turn to go ahead and just drop a momentous choice. But we'll get the opportunity to see how he plays out any combat tricks first. He just doesn't. Interesting. Alright, let's see how it goes. It's enough to threaten lethal on him here. I don't expect the world out of this, but if we get him to spend his mana, that makes me happy. Catch. Okay. So he's one short of flipping now, right? Oh, he impacted. Oh, he's one short. Okay. So we do have the other Aatrox in our hand, right? So if we really want to, we can just Deathbringer sweep the Master Yi. I mean, it might be a necessity. He does scary shit when he flips, right? When I attack, I immediately strike the weakest enemy. So maybe that's kind of scary, but I mean, I think we're going to be fine to just World Ender 2 turns from now, and we have the Deathbringer sweep for Master Yi right now. Oh, Feel the Rush. Wow. I was not expecting Feel the Rush. Maybe we should have been. Is that reduced? What does that cost? 9? I guess that is some downside to having Master Yi on the board for all this time. Okay. But his stuff isn't gonna be flipped though, right? Or we don't have we don't have to worry about overwhelms coming in. We just got to get some blocks in. Like Ornn doesn't make the ram yet. We can get out of this turn just taking like 10. So the Master Yi's flip, but then he shouldn't get any more strikes. Okay. Let's let the combat end. I know his Yi's gonna flip, but the Aatrox strike into him is going to be okay.
Now this is what good looks like.
Interesting. All right. Oh, the Master Yi's work individually, so he doesn't even get the flip yet? What a dumb card. What a dumb card. Alright, so we're going to World Ender, see if we can't attack around him this turn with our Darkened Spears. It's going to be the hope and dream for the round. Look how big that Aatrox is now, though. Say, I don't need Feel the Rush, man. Check all my stats. All right, let's see what she got for us. It doesn't feel like this is going to be a, a particularly good turn. So many things can go wrong here. I guess I should have deduced that this was going to be a Feel the Rush kind of deck, but I just assumed that this was all tied into Ornn. Like, it just strikes me as so weird as if you're playing... Oh, okay, almost overclicked that one. If you're playing... like Feel the Rush, why don't you just play like Tryndamere instead of Ornn? I don't see what Ornn really brings to the table that Tryndamere doesn't, but who knows, man? Not me. Hang on, we want our Aatrox to the left. Bring him in like this. We don't want the Master Yi to flip, right? He's a little bit scarier than Ornn. Is that the case? I don't know. I guess Ornn does make the big ram, and the ram has overwhelm. Maybe we should have just gone after Ornn. Damn, and we missed out on... We missed out on hitting a Darken. I mean, I guess the Keeper of the Box isn't terrible since it has... since it has the lifesteal, but yeah. This one's probably done. We'll give him a chance to fuck it up, or we can draw our own Harsh Winds, and that can give him some problems as well. But we're probably just dead at this point. Ripperino, keeper of the box. Yep, okay. Well, that's too bad. I feel like this is a match we should win, like, a lot, but I guess we got a little bit greedy in there. It's just like, usually when I know I'm playing against Feel the Rush, you kind of get that feel for them banking into turn 9. But having his Feel the Rush cost 9 mana and then get played on turn 7, I just had no idea what was coming at us. That's one of those things where if like we're in seasonals and you get to see the deck, you can look at it and say, oh, I see what you're doing here. Like, I thought that this was going to be like a really value-based deck to where you're getting the equipment on board. You might be making those cheaper with your Master Yi or whatever, but it just kind of struck me as a kind of value forge deck, and I just completely whiffed on what the opponent was actually trying to do. But reasonable enough start here. We'll keep the keeper of the box, mulligan everything else away, see if we can't find a 1-cost equipment to go along with them. Didn't find it, but we should be able to sustain our health for forever in this match, having the double keeper of the box along with the Darken Harp. Can just recover quite a bit of health. Get out there. So I'm not really excited about attacking here. Now that he's played a unit, we would know we were safe, but of course we can't attack our Fearsome into his Bomber Twins, but I think this is okay. Again, we can just heal back so much. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the Darken Harp. I don't think we're going to need to Momentous Choice, but if we want to protect one of our units, I want to have access to it right now. Now the question's going to be is, do we want to add this second one? It seems safe for the moment. Right, we're just going to end up trading it out in combat. I think that's okay. It's like we could have just pivoted over to like the Ambitious Cultist. But I think if we get to clear out his board here, reset our health to 20, and then now we have Kayn. We get to bring Kayn in next turn. I think that's okay. If he drops Rumble here, we can win the combat against Rumble with the Momentous Choice. So, no complaints. Clearly no Rumble, though, if he's playing Scrap Heap on this turn. It'll be interesting to see what the Ambitious Cultist generates as well, since that Rumble does cause a lot of problems in terms of you just don't have the ways to strike him down since he has the Spell Shield, but if the Cultist generates a target, potentially gives us a way to take the guy down. All right, back up to 20. Our board's getting strong. Sounds cool to me. What you doing, Bouncer and Bolt? Are you going to be mean to one of our friends? Now that he's out of mana, we can just play Kayn. He does have the Bouncer and Bolt hook onto Kayn, but it's not enough for a lethal. Then we can do something with the strikes on the following turn. Okay. And then is this permanent? Grant other allies +1/+1. Okay. Good to know. So I think we add the harp and just stop. We have a Kayn hook onto a Yordle Squire. We may have to Furious Wielder the Trumpet Techer if he wants to come in and block our dude. We'll see what happens when that comes to it. Not opposed to just flipping the cane here, so it's not terrible. Alright, no pokey stick. Looks good. Give me them flips, get things moving. Again, our health is pretty high. We didn't get back up to 20, but we're not really worried about getting lethaled here anymore. And do we want to add the Buru Cultist? I mean, he's going wide here. It's probably not terrible to have a block just on a Yordle Squire. Drew us the cane as well. I don't think we're going to be shadow stepping this round, but it's always an option. Look how tiny you are, Scion. He's close to flipping, I guess. He's just not quite there. He shouldn't be able to flip this turn. Like, I guess you can have... you can't scrap heap in combat. I was thinking in terms of Poro Cannon. It's like, well, you could have a Poro Cannon and get a flip in the middle of combat, but the two things with this, I don't worry about dying even if he has it. Like, I just don't think that that's really on the menu. And even if he does, we should be able to block through a Scion rally. But Scrap Heap, maybe Scrap Heap is a burst and not a focus. That would make sense if it was a burst. Well, at any rate, we got through the combat. No worries. Gonna World Ender. It's like this spot, if he has a signpost, we still get to flip our Aatrox, and I don't think he can really deal with him. And then if he doesn't have a signpost, the rest of our units are so massive, we've got this board taken over, and we have plenty of stuff to do on the following turn. Let's just put the smallest unit onto Rost. I don't want to have to worry about him dying to a combat trick. All right, Aatrox Cane redeeming itself after its sad days against the Field of Rush. No respect for Ornn, and we got what we deserved. All right, on to Sejuani Gwen. The important thing with Sejuani Gwen to kind of remember as we go into this match is you can Sejuani into Rumble and still get a Frostbite, right? That is not a circle ability, and so you can still Frostbite through a spell shield. Right, you know what I'm saying? A circle ability, when Gwen attacks, she does the snip snip, it puts the little circle on the board. That's not what that's not what the Sejuani ability is. But here I want to find a little bit more early game units. Everything we had there was a little bit too expensive. Not terrible. That's a little bit better curve. Got the Spirits Unleashed in here as well as a tool to clearing out a Rumble spell shield. Kind of a scary way to have to go about it, but that can clear them. You can generate the 1 damage AoE. The Ram Stance is another way to clear out a spell shield. We have a handful of ways to do it in here. And with this, if he attacks, I'm not going to block. We've run out of stuff to do, and we have these inner beasts in our hand, and so there's a couple of different angles with this in terms of we do get to attack and deal the overwhelm damage, and so it's not like completely unreasonable to see a no block here, but I'm mainly interested in these inner beasts, so we can try and clear out a bit of board if we don't pick anything up. Redeemed Prodigy just just spits right in the face of that concept, but I don't think we want to get it on board. Like, this is one of these spaces to where we are the control deck. And I think it's like if we add the Redeemed Prodigy and then just have to both trade out units, It doesn't feel like a real win. Now, what's he going to do here? If he pokey sticks, that's fine. If he's spending mana not developing his board, that's completely okay. We just get the straight up win. I dig it. Right, this would have felt pretty terrible. If we'd played Redeemed Prodigy, he blocks the Tusk Speaker with one, the Prodigy with the other. We get in for 2 damage. The board's completely clear, but it just doesn't seem like it's playing to what we want to do. Spirits Unleashed. That's what we always want to do. That's the stuff right there. So he does the full discard. We can take this 5 from Rumble. I think we want to be Spirit Unleashing here. Like, we got this Vengeance in hand. I guess the other option is to say Ram Stance, follow up with the Redeemed Prodigy, and then next turn... Like, if we use the Ram Stance, then we can put the Prodigy on board. And I guess technically we just don't have to do any of that nonsense, but I guess the question is, do we ever want to block Rumble this turn? And I don't think we do. So I'm going to go ahead and Spirits Unleashed. We will still have the mana next turn to add both Prodigy and Ancient Yeti, and then those attacks are going to be exceptionally good into Rumble. And what we're kind of hoping for is that we roll around to the opposing turn, and Rumble's just hanging out without his spell shield. Like, the thing that does kind of suck for us is if, say, like, Rumble dies in combat, and then he plays a fresh one that has the new spell shield on it. That's what we're not wanting to see. But I don't think he'll trade him in combat. It's like you're so far behind if you're dropping Rumbles and, like, just straight up losing it on defense. So the Redeemed Prodigy, well, it's kind of interesting. It's still good, right? We can attack with Redeemed Prodigy on the left, and it's big enough to take down a Smash and Dash. I think that's what we want to kind of look for here. He can say, like, Rumble block the Ghastly Band. Rumble won't die, and then the impact will flipping, and then they'll get the second to hit. But I don't think he ever does that stuff with Rumble. This looks really good. Okay, feel great about the game now. It's like he needs a way to give Rumble Overwhelm, and he needs, like, a puzzling signpost to stop our Vengeance. That sounds like a tall order. This block might be questionable, but I don't want to... like, take all of the overwhelm damage. We have a bunch of stuff just to add to the board. Holy shit, does he get a spell shield when he levels up? Oh, fuck me. Oh, that's a disaster. That's a disaster. I forgot about that angle, so maybe we shouldn't have blocked. Well, we might still have the opportunities to get wider than whatever they're able to present and win that way, but... It's just like I wanted to get the block in because if he has, like, the combat trick, then he can kill with Rumble, but... that sucked. Alright, well, I'm going to add the Tusk Speaker. I want him to have to block with everybody this turn. So if we can take Rumble off the board this turn, maybe that's enough. Damn. What is this? An ally and that enemy strike each other. Okay. right, how bad can this go now? He's only down to one card, and he has to block our Gwen. Come on. All right, well, we still have a bunch of draw outs to this. He's going to open attack on us, but we've got Vengeances, we've got Three Sisters. Sejuani if he doesn't open. Ah, brutal. Well, I guess that's on me. Like, the thing that I guess I need to like consider with those is this isn't a deck that's going to be playing Signposts, right? The card I guess it could be playing would be like a Survival Skills, and Vengeance still gets around Survival Skills, and so I'm pretty sure we just like punted every loss in that match, and so that was tough. Like again, that's another space as to where, like, when you're playing seasonals and you get to know what's in the opposing deck list, and you can say, all right, well, there's no signpost, there's no this, there's no that, you just have to worry about Whirling Death, then you know that you don't want to put the unit forward. But that's just such like a weird oddity with Rumble. I've gotten completely smoked by Rumble doing that shit before, where he flips and then gets the spell shield on the back end, but I mean, the other kind of space you're in there is you just get to be like, well, what if, what if he just has like a Decimate, right? You can't just let the attack come through, and if you know he's not playing Decimate, not playing Nox and Fervor, you can just take that damage and not even have to deal with the combat. But here, I don't know what the deal with this Freylord deck is. We see it all the time, and I still don't know what the fuck it is. We're gonna leave that one up. I think we want to take out the Yasuo Leona. That's the one that's going to give our Aatrox Kayn deck the most fits, and so we'll just take that one out, not have to deal with it. Really surprised our Aatrox Kayn deck didn't get banned, but that's fine. And then I'm not sure what Vi Swain is, but that doesn't strike me as like a we don't really want to be playing against, say, like Twisted Fate Swain. That's a pretty powerful removal suite that's just good against everything that we do. And so I think that's okay there. All right, let's send away the fan. We'll just look for more units, and then we can try and hit with the Bukai in terms of the new equipment. So I had this happen today. So went to the grocery store this morning. The wife wanted mini Cokes, and so I was like, "All right, I got you. Don't worry, don't worry, dear. I can handle a box of mini Cokes." And so you had the two options to purchase. They had either just the regular cans, the plain box, or they had the League of Legends Wild Rift box. And so that is, of course, the one I purchased. And and so you take the box, you show it to the wife, you say, "Hey, do you know who this is?" And she says, "No." You say, "Dear, that's Senna, that's Ari, and that's Ezreal. You don't know who any of these people are? They've been making these fucking YouTube videos for like 3 years now, and you still don't you still don't know who any of the characters are." I think she could get Poppy. I think Poppy is the only one that I've pointed out, and she likes flowers and stuff, and Poppy has a flower name. And so I think she could have gotten Poppy out of the mix, but all those other ones, no dice. I'm sure these are like extra delicious Cokes because they have the League of Legends characters on them. I'm sure if you took a picture of that case of Coke and posted it on Reddit, the folks would just be up in arms. They'd say, "Oh, you can't advertise Legends of Runeterra, but you've got the Wild Rift on the box of Coke. Fuck you, Riot." That's what I would suspect you would get out of them. Riot can't advertise Worlds, but they advertise on cans of Coke. Well, that's the way she blows, I guess. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what Wild Rift is. I think it's the phone version of League, but you only play 3 versus 3 or something. I don't know. No interest. But the mobile games are probably where it's at these days. That's what everybody does. You want to get big in non-America countries, you got to make games that can be played on a phone. Even me, I like playing games on my phone. I do the cardio with the gym. Play a little bit of video games on the phone to make it tolerable. So I tried to play Magic Online on my phone, and that was just fucking miserable. And so it is nice then when they put a little bit of thought into your digital experience. All right, it doesn't seem like Dizzy is here. Hopefully, we'll take this game down in short order. Find us a new opponent. See if we can't think of something else to talk about while we wait on these games to cruise through. What's happening? Seen a lot of just loading screens here recently. I don't want to restart the game. The last time it just kind of fixed itself. But all right. What is this? We got a service error now. Oh, and the game's gonna crash. All right, the service error has been fixed. It looks like we got a victory somewhere. The game is restarting. We're good to go. Good to go. Intern, take note of what happened. Tell the higher ups. Run it up the flagpole, you know. All right, what do we got here though? Little Trundlemere, Jinx Echo, and the Red Gwen. This is all fine. Again, we're gonna ban out the Trundlemere deck. That's the one that gives Aatrox Vayne a little bit of trouble while still being good against our other offerings, and so I'm gonna take it out. I assume our opponent is just going to ban our Aatrox Kayn, because then he has a great matchup with his Echo into Leona, and then it's just kind of even with this other stuff, and so gonna ban it out. Interesting. Really surprised to see Aatrox Kayn get left up, but let's see who we'll take into battle. And so the Red Gwen match, it's closer to the lands of even, but the Echo Jinx matchup's pretty good there. All right, so we're on the odd attack, so we can't make great usage out of this Buru Cultist early, but it should be able to shut down like a 2-1. I think that's enough to ask out of our unit. And so now that we picked up the Darkened Bloodletters, oh, okay, this is turning into a reasonable opener against the Red Gwen. It's like our deck tracker broke, though. I have to wait till after the match to get it back up. All right, and so we'll take a couple points of damage. Now we have that 4 mana built up, so we can look to Keeper of the Box into the Darkened Harp. And it does give us a little bit of time in the event that the opponent wants to play Quietus. So if he drops a Quietus on our Keeper of the Box, we can switch to just putting an equipment on the Darkened Blood Thrall, the Darkened Thrall, and so not too bad. No Quietus. Good stuff. Could potentially look for a strike this round, but it's probably a little ambitious. I feel like even if we get blasted for like 6 or 7 this turn, then we can still recover a little bit. Ooh, this is nice. Getting the time to put a block in front of a Redeemed Prodigy. So we're willing to take 11. I think we want to go ahead and just take a block with the Keeper of the Box. Like, that's close. I would like to get to use the Keeper of the Box next turn. But it's like if he has a Nox and Fervor and then the attack just gets blown up, I think we really start to struggle there. How much is this? Take us to 9 if we don't take the block. All right, let's be greedy. Nothing ever went wrong when you said, let's just be greedy. Nothing ever went wrong.
They revere my name and grovel before mine.
All right. Ready for this counter combat action? No. Vile Feast, sure.
Serve me, Rost.
And with the squad. And a might. Okay. Like, we're still in this, like, very defensive posture here. I think this is okay. And we can switch to using the Furious Wielder on the Keeper of the Box. So we can just block whatever his leftmost unit is, and then strike down the next biggest one. And we don't have to worry too much about the stuff that he's throwing at us. And we just can't drop any of this other stuff. I think it's okay. We'll get the block on the left and then a weapon toss at Gwen. We'll go back up to 20. All right. I'm on board. All right, taking 0 on the round. Now you're going to have to help us out, Aatrox. This board is... It's still a little scary, you know? We don't have any additional blockers for his big thing, and so the Aatrox might have to get thrown away. Ooh, perfect draw in the Bakai. Perfect. So I don't think we want to get him involved in combat. Like, we could look to add the Forsaken Bakai and the Darkened Harp, but if we lose our Aatrox to a Ravenous Flock or any removal spell, we're gonna be so hosed, and so I'm not gonna do that. We'll just keep the protection back with Aatrox, and then we did just put a +2+, or we put the heal unit on top of our deck, and so I think we're okay in that sense. So how is this? If Aatrox gets Ravenous Flocked now, are we still okay? And I think we are. So I'm going to go for the Spell Shield with this one. So if he does have the Ravenous Flock, then we can still bonus attack our Forsaken Bakai next turn and block his big attacker. But at the end of the day, I think we're pretty well set here. I think we're good. Agree or disagree, Fam Jam? Are we pretty good? I think we're good. I did the mathematics on it. All right, GG. Okay, and then Blue Gwen. It's not as exciting against Echo Jinx, but it does have the tools to actually beat Echo Jinx. The overwhelms coming through give us a bit of power there. Okay. Reasonable start. I do like the Spirits Unleashed against this deck, and so we'll go ahead and hang on to it. I don't think it's too greedy here on the opener, since they have so many 1-health units. It's nice to be able to come in and unleash on them all. Okay, we trade for the Butler. That's fine with me. Just get us the time, you know. Now, the thing that I think we're going to need to watch for as we build up into turn 4 and turn 5, I do worry about a Gwen coming down. And so might want to consider what we play next turn in terms of, do we want to save this mana to kill Gwen with on a turn or two later? And that's easy enough to do if we just play the Phantom Butler instead of playing like Ancient Yeti this turn. Well, we would still have the 6 mana next turn. Let's just keep it up and have all the mana. We have the mana to sink into a Spirits Unleashed as well. Okay, so not an awesome open for us. He's got 3 hallowed, but 4 hallowed now. But if he doesn't open, I think it's still okay. Great draw with the Unspeakable Horror. Get out of here, Gwen. Nobody wants to deal with that. All right, good stuff. Winding Light. Okay. So again, it's still scary. He's got 6 deaths. We don't really have an answer to Katarina if she wants to make an appearance, and so I'm scared a little bit. See where the Yeti gets us. It's like I'd like to be into the next turn to where he has to play a unit and then we get to Spirits Unleashed as foyer tokens. I think that's going to be the kind of prime position for us to look to. And so we'll look to 3 bank into the next turn so we can still add an Ancient Yeti and the like. Ooh, big hit. Big thunder coming at you, Sage. What else she got? He needs like a Gwen here. Gwen would be pretty tough for us to deal with. Okay. Taking his rally. Which is this coming in for 8. Wow. Oh, he just takes the Glimpse Beyond. Interesting. All right.
Let the bloodshed begin.
Now, Katarina, we don't really have a way to deal with her. So she's going to be flipping this turn. It's like we're just going to be too slow to get both the Spirits Unleashed and the Inner Beast going. We don't have to block her twice, though, is the perk here. Do have to block the Ghostly Band twice, though. Might just be dead with this. So that thing dies. He gets to attack with Katarina, hit for a bunch, and then the rally is going to be the pain point. Yeah, I think we're just dead to this combo.
Quick as the blade.
At least, all right, yeah, we're dead.
They'll never
G,
know
G.
kill.
All right, on to the next one, though. Little Gwen Sejuani against the Echo Jinx. We ran into that in the previous video where we just got completely domed by the opulent Foyer Katarina. Just nothing you could do about it. You have to have the removal spell there, or you have to have the way to shut down the Katarina attack. And we didn't have anything. But as they say, on to the next one. And so here, I think I'm okay to hang on to Gwen. We're on the even attacks, and so we should be able to start attacking with her on turn 4.
Let's get to work.
I'm on board with that. Ooh, Forge Chief. Not sure if I'm used to seeing the Forge Chief come out of this deck. I'm just going to play it slow. Like, adding in the Redeemed Prodigy just to change with the Forge Chief doesn't really get us anywhere. And so we'll see if he adds anything else to the board. We'll get the Spirits Unleashed down. Let us start to just build up some friends out here. Maybe we'll get a big AoE clear. It's like that clears circling around. He's definitely going to hit us for 6, but hopefully it'll be a little bit of a safety net for the rest of our units. So the thing we'll have to kind of watch for here is we'll want to try and use this Sejuani onto his Echo, right? Getting the shutdowns on his Echo is incredibly important. And then also, I think we want to be dropping Gwens here just to kind of protect our health. So we'll see. It's slightly awkward with Gwen. If he has the minus attack card, we just have to Gwen. She bounces in combat with the Chronomancer, but getting Thread the Needles now does give us an additional way to try and kill an Echo, which is pretty important. Want to gain the health here. It's if he has the mana for the Scrying Sands, but it's not a ton we can do about it. And we're just gonna we're most certainly gonna eat a Death Rocket next turn, but okay, he's out of cards at this point. Oh wow, we're eating a Death Rocket this turn. Just had the complete way to empty out the hand, but we have a bit of drain. And without an Echo, this will be kind of really telling on this upcoming turn, given that he has no cards in hand at this point. Might be able to just end the game. Like he's gonna open attack on us. We'll get to block one thing with Gwen and then Thread the Needle onto Jinx. So we should only be taking 3 damage here. Ooh, I wonder if he can even empty out his hand. And then if he's come in and drawn like a Scrying Sands, then you got us. You know, good job. Now an Echo.
Never had luck, never needed it. Easy to say with that Z drive of yours.
Alright, I think we get out of this turn reasonably. We get to block the Echo with Gwen. Then Thread the Needle back onto Jinx, so he's not going to get the Echo Strike. Jinx should fall in this combat. If he's got the Scrying Sands here, then we're dead. But this also just prevented him from getting a Death Rocket. That's so huge. Only a Forge Chief, so he's just naturally drawing off at the top now. Whew, I mean, this is a good place to be in. We do have, a bit of worry, but I think we're okay. We hallowed yet? We got one hallowed. Switch that around. And then we don't want to be getting burnt out here, right? And so I don't want to just come out and trade with some of this stuff. I think this is okay. We were close to the lethal. We could have attacked with the host, but it's just gonna get a trade. All right, fellas, if you ain't squeezing yet, get started. Get started. We got him. GG. Whew. Woof, woof. All right, the battles continue. Let me get this restarted, see if we can get the deck tracker back up. All right, round 4 begin. What do we got here? Ooh, this is it's like, did we play this person earlier? I think this is that kind of same space. Like, I'm curious if he actually bans that. He's probably going to ban out our Aatrox Cane, right? And then make us do battle against these other things. It seemed like we did have a decent matchup against Pantheon, but the one that ultimately worries me is this Diana into the Leona into Leona is the one that potentially gives us problems. And so the way we'll handle this is if both Leona decks stay up, I think we have to play it first. It's such a brutal matchup that if we say play Gwen Sejuani first and into I don't know. That is rough. It's like maybe we do. It's like I ultimately just worry about ending up in this spot to where we have to play the Leona mirror match. But I like have a hard time processing that if we play Blue Gwen first and then just beat the Pantheon deck, then we get to play the Pantheon deck with Leona. But We'll lead off with Aatrox, see what we face. Pretty happy with that in either matchup here. Up against Pantheon. What you got for us? That's not a start. So this should be a bit favorable for him. These big overwhelm strategies tend to be the bane of Aatrox Kane, but see if we can't draw a cultist Frostbite, and then we have access to our friends here to get out in front of this. But this is it's tough in these matchups as to where it's kind of a coin flip in terms of what you're going to play. Like, if we played this against Diana, we would have felt pretty good. Playing this here feels kind of bad. If we played Leona into this, it would have felt pretty good. But if we played Leona into his Leona, it would have felt pretty bad. And so it's tough to just kind of pick one and hope for the best. All right, well, if he's got a combat trick, I'm good to just go ahead and trade for that here. He does get to tick up his Pantheon a little bit, but he doesn't get he doesn't get the to boost up a Fated unit, which is the scary point. And we hopefully have some good friends coming in with the bonus stats now.
The bigger the hunt, the better the trophy.
Are you gonna attack Fam Jam? I loaded up. It's kind of unfortunate because he knows that he's safe now, right? Once we add the card to the board, but
I will take this power in my lady's name.
I think we just have to kind of keep building up and hoping here. You know, it's a terrible strategy just to have to build up and hope, but we're building up nicely. The lodestone is good here, but it's like if we were just open attacking and he has the combat trick to boost his Saga Seeker, and then the turn, like that just all feels horrible. Now we're kind of forcing the measure a little bit in our grown units. So he's gonna have a spell, like he has a trick here 100% of the time, but even if it's just a heal draw 2, like he's gonna have something. But I still want to be getting these attacks in. All right, here comes the squad. He still has to be a little bit worried about the cultist +1 attack thing. Like if he blocks if he blocks our Buru cultist with the Saga Seeker, and then we have the +1/+1 trick, his game is probably over. So we at least have that going for us. And now it's kind of nice that he doesn't really have the means to kill us this round, right? He's still building up to Pantheon and Varus. We can just eat this 4 damage or 6 damage, however much it's going to be. And then we can switch over to Kane Aatrox and then have the Unforgiven Cold for his next turn, his big round as it comes up. The only unfortunate thing here is we don't have a ton of mana. I would like to have these Expanse's protections to prevent a cultist strike from coming in, but one day at a time. So do we want to add damage to any of these? It's a reasonably scary attack, but I think we can just let it go. We're going to roll into the his next attack with the Unforgiven Cold. And this isn't a deck that has, like, cataclysms. He's not going to be sending overwhelm attacks at us when we don't quite expect it. So I think we're at least safe in that sense. Where is our... You. I choose you, Buru Cultist. Let's send you right into Varus. Here comes the rest of the squad. We'll see where this one gets us.
Together, stranger.
Expansions, Protection, and a Pale Cascade. So he's only got 2 cards left in hand. Like, how important do we think it is to protect Arcane? Yeah, you know, I don't think it's ultimately that important. I think we can probably just play our Aatrox and roll into the next turn and look to play our Unforgiven Cold. He did just pick up another Varus in hand. But okay. Protect us, Aatrox. We need it. And then you do have to look out for some shenanigans with Varus, right? If he gets frostbitten and then gets to play a bunch of spells in the middle of combat, it can be a bit of a bummer. But all right, let's see how this shakes out.
The soldier stands among us. We are all soldiers this day.
What you got for us, Forsaken Bakai? Do we even want Kane? Like, we're about to just World Ender, right? That's what we're going to be looking at on the upcoming turns. I don't think Kane is that important. But what else would we want? We just really want, like, cheap units at this point, right? And we want Frostbite kind of things? Okay, let's let all those go. Okay. Like seeing the chains come down pre-combat. I think he's still short of lethaling us.
Bleed we must. Is this the face of fear?
Another hunt.
Right? Right. So we're going to lose our Aatrox, but not be dead. We can then put the Aatrox equipment onto the Forsaken Bakai. And then we can World Ender next turn. Seems pretty decent. I think we might have turned the corner in this one, fam. I don't think there's any weird shit that Pantheon could come out here and do, right? There's not a way for him to start getting these strikes and things in for these additional attacks. There's just Cultist Targon. There's not a load of interactivity that you have access to. Cultist Strike is the only one here, right? He hasn't played any yet, but it still feels like we're in a decent spot if he has it. And then we got Anaka on board, hopefully delivering us an additional Darken. You know, life's been worse. I had better days, I had worse days. I think he's in oh shit mode right now. Says, oh shit. Bust really boomed me with those with those frost bites.
What's this? A new flock.
All right, no bonus attack on the Pantheon. I don't think we're gonna lethal this turn. The Pantheon's just too big. But let's come in this way. I think we want Aatrox to the left. It's gonna force that block from Pantheon onto him. Not a great hit and keeper of the box. It's a little unfortunate, but I think we're all good. Pantheon still getting boomed in this combat. More Pale Cascades. Okay, so he survives. Nothing to do for 1 mana. On to the next one. The next turn, I should say, not the next game. But look how small that Pantheon is now. You do not have very many stats, my friend. You be so tiny. So tiny. So I assumed he was just going to be coming at us with Harazi. Doesn't appear to be the case now. Should just be getting a Darken on the board. Who's the biggest one? I like that Harazi has Spell Shield. Cuts back on a lot of the shenanigans that he can do. And I think that's where we stop. I want to be able to Expanse's Protection and Furious Wielder here. Now, I guess we could have added Kayn, right? Kayn could have just came down for free. Looks like he's about to bring in an attack, but we had that option with Kayn. All right, let's see how that one goes. I wonder if this was a spot, like, I know he only has 2 mana, but there's some times, say, like with the burst frostbites coming at you, to where you want to put your spell shield on first because you can't respond to a burst spell. And so I'm curious if there wasn't a space to where we should have just protected our Aatrox before we played the card, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter here. Took the game down. Alright, here's a Naka. We can add Kayn. Swing with all of our friends. Call it a day. Opponent was running out of timer there as well. I've seen some interesting discussion on Twitter about the timer and the problems it has. Of course, I don't like it. I think the games are too slow. I would love to have the round timer shortened, and I would love to see the amount of time you get per game shortened. But there's apparently people that have figured out how to game the system to where you play a deck in game 1 and get yourself in the position to win, and then you just grind the clock out forever. And then as you get into game 2, if the time expires, it just cuts back to whoever won game 1 as being the winner. I know that you can get to a point where you're just like, better concede, but it does bring a bit of worry if people are out there, kind of gaming the systems with the timers. I have always been a fan of the chess clock system, as to where you're just given a certain amount of time across each match, and if your timer runs out, you just lose. But there's pros and cons to all of them. I believe it was Drissoth that was proposing a system to where I think he was suggesting that you start with 15 minutes, and then at the end of each game, you get 6 minutes added to your timer. And if you ever run out of timer, if your timer ever drops to 0, then you just lose the current game. You reset to having 6 minutes for the next one, and you just start over from there. I thought that was a pretty interesting take on it. I kind of like that as well. It's just as I prefer, I don't know, I would play Blitz chess if given the opportunity, to where you just have a 1 minute clock, or if you could play Nosdormu mode, as you would see in Hearthstone. But here, happy enough with these attacks. He hasn't equipped anything yet, so we don't have to worry about the cultist thing surviving his unit. Kind of sucks for him now going into turn 3 without having any targets up to this point. So it feels fairly safe for us here. And I will put damage on this. I think we're looking to just build to this Katarina. He shouldn't have a big collection of ways to answer Katarina, and so I'm hoping we can get him kind of invested in this unit. Right now he's having to either save it or waste more targets for the round, so he's not leveling up his Pantheon. And we might just be able to boom this thing with Katarina. He can look to strike her down. He really needs that cultist strike right here. Everyone's favorite champion, Katarina. I'm curious. I'm curious if Katarina's gonna survive rotation. She is exceptionally strong. Okay. Again, get to drain him out of another card here. This feels pretty decent. We haven't found any of our stun birds or our Leonas to deal with his big boys after this turn, but we have got him to spend 2 cards on the previous turn for the single faded, 2 cards on this turn for the single faded. It's a nice build up for us. He's not big scary yet. And then the Solari Priestess is pretty interesting in the sense that if she picks up an Obliterate, it's a fantastic way to take down these big units. There's the Leona. Okay. So she doesn't have Overwhelm, or she doesn't have Barrier this round, but I think it's okay. Like, his Pantheon's not gonna be big enough. Well, I guess his Pantheon could be big enough to kill her. So maybe we just bring in the Priestess here. There's the Fallen Comet. Alright, I'm blocking. Get in here, friend. You did some hard work today, Solari Priestess. I don't want anyone to take that away from you. And here we can still add the rear guard. We'll have the mana next turn to play Leona and play Pale Cascade. So we might get a cool play out of that. Stunbird. Appropriate timing. You will be quite useful next turn for a double stun. Let's see what opponent does. Losing our Leona would be pretty disaster mode, but we'll see. He probably needs to add something to the board here. Just a Forsaken Bakai. It's kind of suspect. How much mana does he have? He does have the mana to say... like, I was curious, like, what happens if we say hook his Saga Seeker, and then we use that as a... this is fine. Then we use the Saga Seeker as a means to... like dodge a cultist strike, but I don't think it's necessary here. It's Big Daddy Varus ready for battle now. Enjoy these stuns, my friend. Enjoy these stuns. So it's not going to hit both of his scary units, the Varus and the Pantheon, but it is hitting the good ones at the moment between Varus and the Saga Seekers, since Varus is bigger than the Pantheon. And ideally, we have a lot of big plays after this, right? Our Leona is still barriered, so she's going to be able to get a lot of shutdowns here. We have Katarina as a means to get a rally, and so I think it's good. Seems better to go a Katarina route than to play a Fallen Comet.
Grant me your power. Let me end our war.
Our revenge comes first, then your petty war.
I don't know, man. Seems good, right? Seems good. The only bummer, I guess, is we don't have any daybreaks for the following turn. So we can't make gigantic plays, but our units are still so good. I don't think it's not incredibly upsetting.
Daylight is unrelenting, but not eternal.
All right, so I'm not going to go for any of the Leona kills this round. It's like, I feel like we just have enough. I don't think it's something to worry about. Try and take down Pantheon here.
Stand with me.
All right, now let's see what we draw. Like an open attack isn't great, right? We don't have the tools to produce a lethal just yet. But if we hit a daybreak, then we should be set. Ravoon is pretty decent. Hitting the Sun Guardian is nice. Now we have the opportunity for 2 stuns here instead of just the 1. I think we should be okay. But right, that was a fairly awkward moment if, say, we drew a 4-cost Sunburst. We couldn't play the Sun Guardian or the Katarina, and then we were just kind of stuck with the Pale Cascade turn. But now that we get the additional stun, this one should be pretty handily over. We can stun the Varus. If he has to play a Expanse's Protection, that's okay. We can still even look to take him down in combat with Leona. And then if he doesn't have it, he needs another unit. Even with another unit, we're still so close to lethal. Right, so he has to play something. But even if he plays something, we're looking at a Pale Cascade Leona to kill the Varus, and then he's going to really struggle to kill us on the upcoming turn. All right, that's 14. Just go ahead and take the hook into Varus, make him play another card. I suspect he would need like a Varus strike. Might be a way to do it, but then we can still try to kill him with the Pale Cascade. We may not get the lethal this turn, but the game should be done in our favor. Three, 4, 5. Where are we at? 6, 7, 8. Oh, we're still just lethal. Okay. I was like, I was afraid I was tunneling in on killing this Varus and not using the Pale Cascade on one of our units to get the lethal, but we were right there for the lethal anyways. We had enough. Okay. GG. On to the final battle. All right, final battle. Y'all been watching the final football battles? I, of course, watched the Chiefs game. That was a bittersweet, the victory, but Mahomes getting hurt. I think he's got to come out and play but he's going to be like crippled. I really worry that the AFC Championship game is just going to be brutal. It's so tough to see when he goes down like that. Like he most certainly has a like at they said the X-rays were negative, so he didn't break anything, but it's probably like a high ankle sprain, and high ankle sprains tend to take people out of the game for like 4 to 6 weeks. Uh, with him, I don't suspect he's going to sit out unless he is like medically incapable of playing. I think they'll just load him up with painkillers, but um, it's going to be bad when he doesn't have his mobility. But the final battle is here. Again, we're just going to ban out the Trundlemere deck. I never really worry about Lurkers. It's not a fantastic matchup for anything. I really hate playing it, but it is what it is. And then if we have to play Aatrox Kayn mirror matches, that's fine. So let's lead off with the Aatrox Kayn. This is kind of the same spot as that last matchup as to where, you know, if I have to play an Aatrox Kayn mirror match, that's kind of fine. I don't really want to play Aatrox Kayn against Lurkers, but we just have to kind of see what turns up and see how it goes. It's just such a high rolly matchup. I don't really like it. But we'll hang on to our Keeper of the Box. We got some early game stuff now. That's great. It's just so much of this comes down to, it's like, okay, well, we got the attack token, so he can't start to lurk on the first turn. And then as you roll into the second turn, they have to try and just naturally lurk. And if they naturally hit, then they're just like so far ahead. But if they miss because they didn't have anything turn 1, turn 2, then they are just like so exceptionally far behind. Like it's like I don't know how people like play this deck and enjoy it. You know, I think that's a valid statement. How do you enjoy this? Let's see what he does. It's an interesting space if he adds a unit to the board. Like, we have these Bakai, and if we hit, and we have the opportunity to kill both the Hatchling and whatever the other unit is, that leaves us in a great space. So much of it comes down to just whether or not he hits a lurk, which I'm really surprised he opened here. I guess that means he probably has like a Feral Prescience in hand. So that he could say, okay, I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to see if I need to use it or not. Now this kind of sucks. I want to have the 3 attack unit so we can block his thing. He doesn't really need to attack this turn, but picking up Aatrox really sucks in terms of what our units are doing. And so I think I just want to take the damage. And then the question is, do we want to actually pick up Keeper of the Box? Maybe. Well, I think I'm just going to follow up with the other Bakai. Like, he's automatically going to attack here, so we're not going to get the time to equip. But we'll play the Bakai and just look for another equipment. Darkened Spear is fine. All right, so now my next question is he going to have another of that stupid thing? Is he gonna have another another, what was that called? Ripjaw Swarm, whatever that thing is. If he is, I'm gonna want to have the spear onto our unit so that we can just block and not worry about it. It strikes me as what's coming down. That was so incredibly strange that he didn't open attack with the Zersai Hatchling and do stuff that way. It's like, it's so weird that Snapjaw Swarm came down first. I'm not entirely certain how to read into that. But we have good attacks now. All right. So he hasn't predicted yet this turn, so I would suspect he would play another unit before the combats start. So I have to see.
Shadows of shadows, terrors in wait.
And Rek'Sai. That's certainly a way to ensure that you have an attack. We'll put down the Shadow Fiend just to make sure we have a block to where we don't lose a unit, but he's certainly coming at us with that. We don't feel the need to keep any of this stuff behind, right? I think I like just clearing out the board. Like, we are getting him fairly drained out of cards here. So do we want to go for Kane? I feel like with Kane, we're just going to run into issues to where
The bigger the hunt,
his units are just going to be too big. So I'm just going to add all this other shit to the board. See if we can't get into a better spot. There's the pike. Okay. I hate pike as a card so much too. Just so dumb. Alright, let's see if we can't get around this though. What are you hitting us for 5? Of course. Just naturally hit him. Makes sense. So how do we want to do this? We need to come at the pike. The perk for us is pike needs +1 attack to actually get a kill. And so I think we should get ourselves in this spot to where we're just going to open attack next turn. And so if that's the case, I'm going to want to add Kane. And I'm going to want to add the Dark and Blood letters to our Buru Cultist so that we can try and get a open into pike. The downside is we're pretty close to lethal. And we're kind of giving up on the lethal this turn by taking it this way. Okay, I'm fine with Bone Skewer. Don't have to worry about the pike just nuking our team. Just draw another Kane. Yeah, I'm not like super excited about the Kane though. Let's move this route. The Ambitious Cultist is pretty large here. What does this thing do? Create a Mirage in hand that costs 0 this round, or create a Spatula. Okay. So we can get another dude. That's kind of nice, I guess. If we're just trying to get the width here.
This is dark and power.
So he's got the pike on top of his deck. That's the next thing turning up. We know that he'll have the death from below next turn. But I mean, it seems like we're getting pretty close to lethal this round. A Hathian Mirage. I want the unit, and then I'm going to put the Darkened Fan on the unit.
one last strike.
They thought they were safe.
Is that okay? I don't want pike. Oh shit, he stays at the 14 thing? We're 1 short of lethal though. So these are the only ones that can come in. Right, if we do this, he can just block the dragon. Oh no, we could have. I forgot about the piercing bolt. I just did 3, 6, 4. That gets us to 10. That's not enough for lethal. Oh man, that's a disaster. That's a disaster. I don't know how much we have to worry about pike like AoE nuking our team, but man. I think the thing that might be our saving grace though is picking up the Expanse's protection. So if he can flip the pike, but we have a way out. So let's do this. We'll add Aatrox. He's going to hook something with pike. That'll get him the flip, but he can't AoE strike down our team. And then next turn, we can hook the pike with the cane and get him way out of combat. That's okay.
Another hunt.
So tempting to keep this Darkened Bloodletters back now. now that I remember it has that bonus attack thing attached to it.
Will not yield.
Right, and that makes all of our 3s then lethal. Okay. Whew, that's tough though, man. We should have been in a much better spot. It's a tough space to forget that you didn't have the thing. And like I even moved the units forward to look at the amount of damage, and I was just like, we have the. Holy shit! How does that? I thought he didn't kill our stuff until. Dumb fucking cards. Okay. Thought he didn't kill anything until after the combat. Alright, so he's got a Zersai collar. I mean, I don't think we're... that's so dumb. We threw this one away. So he's at 15. So like at this point we have to darken Fan. We're not even going to gain health off of this, though. Right, if we're going to Darken Fan and then take in Pike. Because he's just going to... No, he just dies in the combat. Okay. Alright, but not immediately dead. Right, he has to attack and hit the lurk, at least at this point. Yeah, that's... Okay. Let's see. That should be a decent one, right? So we at least get all the blockers. Rek'Sai is not killing us. We can just block these other dum-dums with our ephemerals. Okay. So he's going to pick up a bunch of... He's going to pick up a bunch of cards in hand, but we're not dead. And then we do have the elusive guy down here. And there's not an elusive lurker, so I mean, we should be safe with the Pra. I'm not going to open attack just since I don't think we have to open. Like, if he picks up a strike card, then we can still expand his protection. Maybe we should just open. I don't see how it would ever go wrong. Oh, okay. What a game. What a game. I'm glad we didn't have to at least face down that potentially lethal attack off the Naked Lurk and have to worry about it that way. Did I just fuck this up? This unit... Does this... I don't even know. We might have just fucked this up again. I don't know if that gives us the elusive Aatrox. Okay, it does. I was really counting on that elusive to stick around, and then I was like, oh no. I'm not sure how the champion morph works. But... Alright, good deal there. So this is the stuff we're dealing with now, huh? So we did come up with a way to lose the game. All right. Ew, that was a slop fest. That was nasty. I was not happy with how that one went in any way, shape, or form. But we took down the important one. That's supposed to be the matchup that he's trying to win. is getting the Lurker's victory against the Aatrox Kane, and so it was nice to take that one down. All right, Blue Gwen, let's see what you can do. All right, Quietus is a great card to have here, as he wants to play a 1-drop on the first turn and then hopefully hit a Lurk. If we can take that away from him, again, it just takes away so much of the snowball out of the deck. So, I believe. Get that out of here. It's so big. I will lead in with the Butler. I want to be playing the Tusk Speaker on the opposing turn. So we'll save him, try and get those Sejuani level ups if we can. I would assume he's got the 2-3 predict to go along with these, so we should probably be able to get a unit on board. Nope. Oh, and he misses? Sucks for you, man. That sucks. Yeah, I know. You're the one that chose to play this deck. It's like, I don't think we even want to bother. Our attacks are just so good next turn. Like, he's not pushing the damage in any way, so. Like, as it stands, he can't even block a Tusk Speaker and get a kill. Now that we picked up the Spirits Unleashed, it's kind of interesting. We don't really need to get super aggressive with it. But I'm going to attack with all of these 3 attack units since he's dropped in Pike. We can kill Pike with these. Alright, that seems positive. Just an absolute disaster for the Lurkers to whiff like that, so. A bit unfortunate for opponent. I'm going to go ahead and Spirits Unleashed. It gets the Xerxai Hatchling off the board. I have no intention of actually getting into combat this turn. Like, if he does something to get Pike into combat, I'm not completely upset about it, but that's at least the idea for the round. Is if we get some clear, that's great. Our units are going to be huge coming into this next attack. He actually gave up a mana crystal there. That's pretty wild. Does manage a Lurk.
A bit underdressed. May I see your invite?
Okay. Pick up some Halloweds now. So we'll have to see, like, if we're going to want to say Inner Beast before combat happens. Like, we're short of the lethal as it is. I'm not going to now that we picked up the Prodigy. It's just attacking 100% of the time, but that's kind of an interesting space in that, you know, if he plays like a Dune Breaker or something, if we would want to just play the Inner Beast and see if we can't get it going. Okay, I had to double check on that one. Our unit survives. I really hate this interaction where you can't see if your unit's gonna win the combat or not.
Don't hold your breath. Drown with me.
All right, got him to 1. Got his pikes cleared out. Game should be done. We can just stance swap a Ram Stance next turn and get that 1 point of damage in. Should be enough to do it. If it gets another Rite of Negation, then, you know, yay for us. All right, GG. Another Prime Glory for old Team Bust. So, good stuff. Glad we were able to take it down. Pretty good set of games, and again, I'm pretty happy with the lineup. The place that starts to strike me as worrisome are those like when we ran into that Leona matchup, and it's kind of interesting to me as to where you say you have a lineup to where you have a deck that's 50-50 against everything, and then you have a deck that is 75-25 against one, 75-25 against the other, and then they have like a 50-50 deck in the middle. And if you ban out the 50-50, and then you have like the 75-25 cross, and it's just like so much of that match comes down to either A, hitting the matchups in the right order. So you run your 75% win rate into his bad matchup, and then you're good to just pick up your good matchup a little bit in the future, or you just have to like high roll one of those things. And so that's why you do see kind of like a lot of these kind of tight window lineups as to where, if you're a really great player in the world, you bring this very middle of the road lineup, and you may not have any kind of 75-25 matchups. The worst you would have is like a 55-45, and then you're hoping to just outplay the opponent in those kind of spaces. And it's tough in these because like I'm good at the game, but I'm not up at that level as to where I really feel good about that. And so I do like some of the polarized matchups to turn up, but it does leave us in those spots to where, we occasionally have to run into just like the coin flip of hope as to whether we pick up the right deck at the right time. But otherwise, I'm reasonably happy with the lineups and how this has been going. This is, again, what we're going to take on into seasonals. And so the things that will be turning up over the next few days, the way that these next few videos will go, should be able to get in another gauntlet tomorrow. There's enough time on Monday for me to try and pull one of these off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we'll play each of the decks once. Friday probably won't make a video, and then Saturday we'll record the seasonals. And so if you're enjoying these decks, you like what you see, you should get more of it here in the upcoming days. Otherwise, you gotta find somebody else to watch for about a week, and I hope you're able to do so. But that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. It had a good time watching. This is Bust and me. Thank you for being here.